The release of Colin Rutherford after 5 years is really strange indeed. But the American soldier that was kidnapped about 5 years ago, he also showed up, but he was released after the American government released five high-profile Taliban leaders from Guantanamo Bay. So that's the reason why that has happened. Why he was released, I have no idea. We don't know anything yet until he gets back to Canada. And once he's back in Canada, obviously he'll be interviewed by the press after the intelligence services. We will probably never ever know the truth, simply because the Taliban work in mysterious ways. I mean, usually they, to my knowledge, they never ask for a ransom for him or any concessions from the government. And consequently, why have we not heard anything since his initial video? So it is very, very strange. Now, maybe they did ask for something and we have not been made aware of that at all. So we're not going to really know anything. This is one of those strange cases that it will unwind over time. A lot of the foreign kidnapped victims over the years have been negotiated out of their environment primarily by another country, and that country was Qatar. And they've dealt with a lot of these types of situations. You've got to remember that the Taliban actually opened an office in Doha, in Qatar. So they do have a very good relationship with the Qatari government. So consequently, that could have something to do with this. It's very rare that a government will actually negotiate directly with kidnappers themselves. There will usually be a third party who will be involved in this. Normally, the Taliban tend not to abuse any kidnapped victims. What they usually do, they could move him around. They could move him between village to village and into the mountains. Also, they could move him out of the country into Pakistan, to the border regions between Pakistan and Afghanistan. A report came out a while ago about this American sergeant when he was released. He said there was a Canadian with him in Pakistan, he being held with him in Pakistan. That's never been collaborated on whether it was a fact or fiction, so we don't really know. Once he gets out, as I said, and once the media start paying a great deal of interest in him, maybe some more of these facts will become factual and we'll know exactly what happened. Canadians who were kidnapped in the Philippines, once again, the negotiation process takes a long time. First of all, you've got to find out, are they still alive? Because don't forget, a lot of victims do get killed. They either get killed because they resist or they try to escape, whatever the case may be. So whoever's going to be doing the negotiation, they need to be informed and be able to prove proof of life. And proof of life, depending on if they're being held in a jungle, in the mountain region, whatever, it's going to be very difficult for them to sort of understand who has them. Once they've established the fact a particular group has got them, the negotiations will then start. You have to set up a line of communication between the kidnap band, group, whatever, and whoever's doing the negotiations. That could take months to coordinate. Also, when these two Canadians who were in the Philippines were kidnapped, they wanted like $100 million ransom. Well, who was going to pay that? Because these are just private citizens. The government is certainly not going to pay that, any type of ransom of that nature. And plus the fact it's illegal, as it is in most countries in the Philippines, to give terrorists ransom money simply because they will use those funds for weapons, explosives to attack the infrastructure of the country they are operating in. Every kidnapping situation is usually different. As I said, it depends who the kidnappers are, what their demands are. Most of it, I would say 95 to 98% of all kidnappings are for financial gain. So that's easily done. But once again, they'll come in at hundreds of millions of dollars. And consequently, who is going to pay hundreds of millions of dollars? No one has that type of money. And then over a period of time and a period of negotiation, what will happen is that will be whittled down to half, third, to a couple of 100,000, which is acceptable. A government is not going to pay that, so then they'll look at a company if these people belong to a company. If they don't, they will go to the family. That happened with Amanda Lindhouse in 2008. I mean, she was a classic case. Her parents were normal, everyday Canadians, and unfortunately, the money, they wanted $2.5 million. Well, a normal family cannot come up with $2.5 million. So consequently, there's an impasse because the kidnappers want X, and the family, the corporation of the kidnapped victim is unable to pay that amount of money. So a certain amount of time will take place, and in her case, it took over a year. In this case, to my knowledge, the one in Afghanistan, we don't know whether a kidnapping demand was made or concessions were made. In other words, they may say, well, if we release this guy, if you release these guys out of prison in Kabul. We don't know what happened because that was never released. We may find out when he gets out, but at this moment in time, it's very, very difficult to be able to ascertain the fact that why he was there for 5 years.